Wowza's work is just an amazing venue of all kinds of different modalities, processes, and really proprietary work that Wowza has developed in the last 40 years. Read about her, and so I started out reading about her, and then I started helping her write her books, and in the process of writing the books, understanding the language that she was using to describe, it helped me understand the actual physical and emotional and spiritual work that she was doing with these different modalities. So I'm going to start out and tell you a little bit about her. So it started with the Humming Book. And the Humming Book was just a really fun little simple book that I agreed to help her produce, and so we published it when we had a printing company many moons ago. But I wanted to share with you why Wowza is so adamant about the humming, and in the 15 years that I've worked with it, I've read about it, I've heard about it, but this last year I was able to really experience it. And so my message to you, Ageless Vitality or Wowza's work is not something you're going to transform overnight with. It is a process, and as you build the foundational steps to that process of changing the way you move, changing the way you sound, shifting the way you think, and having them all work in unison. That's really what Wowza's work is. And so humming is one of the first steps. Now, we use the label humming, but it really is sounding and toning, creating vibration in your body. And so I want to tell you a little bit about Wowza's background and some of the work that I discovered she had accomplished in her 40 plus years. That's amazing within itself, 40 years in a specialty of the human potential movement. Wowza started at 16 modeling. Somebody found her running on the beach, and he captured a picture of her, and the next thing she was invited to participate in, I think she was living in Florida, and the Miss Orange pageant or something. In the end of that start, she ended up being the first, I don't know, Biff, if you can get that for me. There it is. Burt Parks and Wowza as first runner-up for the Miss America pageant. And when, if you ask her why she didn't take first place way back then, I think it was even maybe before I was born, I don't like to say that, but Burt Parks asked you how you have to ask these, each contestant has to answer a question, and the question to Wowza had to do with empowering women, and she took out this huge shriek and a karate chop to demonstrate what she does 40 years later, and the audience went silent because they weren't ready for something like that coming out of a woman 40 years ago. After her work in the pageant, she then became a movie star, and look at that, isn't this amazing? The many faces of Wowza. At the time it was Elisa Lodge. She became a movie star and a model here in Hollywood, and she worked with the series Hogan's Heroes. She actually did a movie with Jerry Lewis. Isn't that amazing? She also trained with Marilyn Monroe. In fact, Marilyn Monroe was one of her acting buddies with Lee Strasberg. That's one of the finest acting studios in the world. And in that process of acting and the training, she started to discover the process of emotion and moving emotion through your body, and understanding how, as an actor, you wear many faces. And so Wowza's work is based on that foundation, the many faces, the many emotions, and how emotions trigger or encompass or create a persona. And that's really what her work is about. So when you look at the Humming Book, understanding how to use humming to access information from the body, and how to take and understand how movements or static postures create really just that, a persona that maybe you're aware of or maybe you're not, or that maybe you have choices on on how you're perceived or want to be perceived. And the more faces that you can wear, the more attitudes you understand are just created by movement, sound, and breathing, the more flexibility you have in life instead of getting caught in a way of sitting. And that sitting controls your thought process, it controls your health process, it controls how you feel, understanding that you really are an artist with your body. And the many different ways that you can be in that body creates the aliveness, the ageless vitality, the excitement, and the energy, not only bringing energy in, but taking energy back out. So with that little bit of introduction, Wowza's work is, if you were to start with the humming book, is learning how to just be able to sound and tone, hum, and how it can transform different issues, relationship, health issues, chronic fatigue in your back, headaches, migraines, healing cancer, just unlimited amount, because what you're doing with sound and humming is you're bringing frequency, movement, energy into your body, which is new life. And then we'll be broadcasting from Hawaii, and Wowza will be here, and you'll start to see small groups form in living rooms around the world, learning ageless vitalities from Wowza on the More Wealth and More Wisdom webcast series. Have a great day, breathe, sound, move, and aloha.